Hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a thick, juicy series which may span into multiple videos. Really, this is like an ultimate battle on steroids, like a Giga Chad level ultimate battle between Soma, spawning in the top left hand corner, and sSak down in the bottom right. I'm talking more than 10 games, guys, so we've got a lot to get into. We're gonna start on Radeon, cross map. This should be awesome. Really looking forward to seeing how sSak matches up with Soma here in 2025. This was just this week that these games were played, and really the only reason we're getting so many games between these two is because Soma can't play for money. He is still in the military. He's been playing a ton on the ladder just for practice, and you can see sSak is hiding his identity. I think that Soma may be as well. They're not talking to each other, so I don't think they know who each other are. Maybe after a few games, they're gonna get to some chatter between each other just to see, like, hey, who exactly are you? You're playing pretty well for just a random ladder player. So if any of that comes up, I will translate it. So far, we've only got the 12 hatch going into gas pool and a 1 Rax, looks like fast expand coming out of sSak. Now, he put the second supply depot over here by the command center. This is going to make the SCVs pop out a little bit farther to the right, and it's also quicker because you just immediately build it here in the natural, or in the main mineral line, rather than sending an SCV all the way out here, building it, and then sending the SCV all the way back, which does cost some time. Some mining time would be lost from that. In putting that the supply depot right there, though, it just makes you so much safer. You can put a marine right up inside that little pocket, and you can have a marine or an SCV right there. It covers you in case there's lings coming across the map, but he sees with his SCV that there's no lings coming, so he's not going to get punished for not filling out that full wall. Engineering bay on the way. We're going to have a +1 build out of sSak, who has still full HP on his SCV. He's been doing a good job of staying away from the lings and drones in this early game, and he's going to start to get tracked down now, but look at this dodging. Ooh. Very hard to track down an SCV that's lubed up like this. This guy's a P. Diddy SCV. He's got baby oil all over him. The cops are about to catch him. They're about to run him down, corner him, and put him in the prison. There we go. He has gone to prison. The prison of the afterlife. RIP SCV. Command center here in the natural, just finishing up now. +1 upgrade on the way. Everything looking fine and dandy. Second gas will be popping down here in a second. There it is. Has the money to possibly afford a third hatchery. Looks like he will be throwing that down. Maybe over at a third base. No, there it is. Okay, he will throw down the third hatch. It is a 2.5 hatchery play. And so that hatchery will not finish before the spire, but it will come in handy when he decides to drone up or just start building a bunch of lings to try and overwhelm sSak's eventual push out. These are two builds that we've seen clash time and time again. I don't think there's any clear advantage for either build in this matchup. 2.5 hatch versus early +1. I think that the only scary thing is we know that there's going to be a big power spike for sSak right as that third base is coming online, and depending on when he eventually gets into his Hydroden and lurkers, is he gonna have enough lurkers to hold that power spike? Is he gonna be able to hold the mass of marines that's gonna suddenly arrive with that +1 at his third or his natural? That's going to be one of the big tipping points of this game. The first tipping point, though, is going to be how he defends these early game mutas. How much damage Soma can get with those, and how how much of a commitment does sSak make to defending against that? The more turrets you have, the less damage you're probably going to take, you're liable to take, but also the slower you're going to be on adding other things like your factory, getting your second gas, that sort of thing. How many marines you're going to have is going to be dependent on how much minerals you have and how many turrets you're making. Of course, they cost minerals, but they also cost mining time, right? Very critically, mining time is going to be a factor. All those SCVs off the line, and look at this, he hasn't built even a second turret over at his main base. Ling's gonna run by now into the main. He's actually cleared out quite a few marines, only 2 remain, and look at this, he's gonna run into the mineral line. He sees that there's nothing, no turrets at the bottom part of this mineral line, so it's open season on SCVs over that location, but unfortunately he gets pushed back. He loses a muta. A little bit of miscontrol there from Soma. Adding on some more mutalisks now. He might have slipped a few drones in there as well. Gonna come in to the natural once again. Loses another muta for no damage. Not even killing a marine there. So he started off strong, but now he's having a bit of a hard time. There's the factory trying to come up, but diving right on top of that immediately. I love it. He's gonna get right onto that factory, prevent it from coming up easily. Of course, sSak gonna send another SCV immediately to go ahead and deal with that big group of bio here in the middle of the map. More mutas popping out. Of course, gotta have lings as well to be able to clean this up. And the third base finishes in the bottom left. Grouping up these mutas, gonna be important. Finding the marines is the most important thing though, and he just did find them without taking any damage. Now he's gonna be able to kind of harass these, and sSak knows it. He's just gonna start to move back towards the natural so he can get an easy resupply of troops. Doesn't want to lose this first bio ball. Really important he doesn't lose that, so he's gonna be controlling this. Hydralisk Den is done. Lurker upgrade on the way. What's the plan here for sSak? How many lings is he gonna make? How many mutas is he gonna make? He's making the transition during this. And so I think if sSak pushes out with this next Bioforce, he may be able to force some continued Mutalisk production so that Soma can actually kill this Bioforce before making that transition. But he's got 3 Hydras on the way. This is the dangerous point I was talking about. You're just making Hydras, or Soma is just making Hydras. He's just getting into those defenses. He's stopped making Lings and Mutas. And now this force of bio is looking very scary. Can he get the cleanup on this before that big transition, or is he going to rely purely on lurkers to hold back at home? They're not quite on the way yet, and they still take time to morph. Okay, he's going to dive on top of this now. He's actually done a good enough job of killing off Marines one by one, and finally will end up cleaning up all of this Bioforce, and still a good chunk of mutas left over. That was a fantastic cleanup. Soma firmly in control of this game now. 7 lurkers on the way, and he may even push out and try to contain. If he gets 7 lurkers in this little choke, you are going to be in massive trouble. Where is that factory? It's not even on the ground, it's floating. So sSak getting out-muscled on the map. Even though we're in the midst of a transition, Soma is trying to switch into a lurker. That's all mutas that could have been made, and yet he's still crushed that attack. So many drones popping out. There should be a Nidus Canal on the way soon. There it is. And so trying to draw the forces of sSak back towards his natural, because he really wants to push these lurkers up a little bit further. Yeah, he wants to get the lurkers right in the natural there, if at all possible. But sSak not going to be played like that. He's going to keep his Marines out in the front, make sure these lurkers can't get up into that critical position that's going to cause him a lot of grief. SCV makes it into bottom left. He sees the base, he sees the situation. I'm sure he's not happy. The Filer Mound is pumping. That's a lot of lurkers. Even in this choke right there, it's a little bit scary, and he's just slowly creeping forward. This is some very good play from Soma, but he's playing with fire at the same time. if sSak hits the stim button and you're running forward with your lurkers, you could end up losing, you know, 2-3 lurkers, and then the bio forces that are coming out in support could just overwhelm that. Instead, sSak is going to run around with this. He's going to leave open this spot. These lurkers could come forward and sit here, but then they would be, you know, letting these forces on the map just kind of roam free. Looping around the back of this. Looks like he's going to maybe try to hit this from 2 sides at the same time. Here comes those Marine forces from the rally point, but they don't have any medics with them. And so the Mutas and Lings will actually clean that up handily. Now the lurkers are going to move forward into position. He's actually going to go full counterattack mode, try to kill this bunker. sSak kind of panicking right now. He's going to pull back his Marine forces. The lurkers are not in the best position. They're not in a long line. They're kind of spread out. And so maybe he can come in here and hit this, but Soma going to move right up next to the command center finally. And if he gets all the lurkers stacked up right there, how are you going to break that? You're just going to need to wait for more and more irradiates. This is a bad situation from sSak, but he's going to try and hit this from all sides at the same time. Can he kill these lurkers? He will. Not too bad actually on the kills as well. Coming down that ramp, sometimes it can be a huge pain. A bunch of Marines could have just gotten absolutely splattered, but not the greatest spot for those lurkers to fight. And now sSak is unleashed back onto the map. However, Soma, with that counterattack play, getting into that natural, I mean, he's securely seized the initiative in this game. We're just getting over here to try and deal some damage. sSak's got nothing in production. He's going to start 2 dropships. He knows how bad of a spot he's in. Got to roll the dice a little bit with those lotto ships. See if he can't get something done. 1 vessel goes down. He's really trying to push the issue here. Not just, you know, hitting stuff at the periphery and then, you know, dropping a couple of irradiates and running away. He's really trying to get in there with their irradiates to see if he can open up a position. He has to do something. 1 lurker does get pulled back by Soma, realizing his mistake. That's one thing that you'll see quite often is you'll click on the Nidus canal with something and then you hold shift and click in another location, so it pops through the Nidus and then runs to the front. And sometimes they just don't listen. Some things just don't listen and they'll just go running for a weird direction. Oh my god, I missed the plague of the century. Holy. By like 1 second, I think. GG. That plague. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Soma's way too well set up. He's just distracted sSak so perfectly. You know, getting in there on the natural. And really, it was downhill from that cleanup in the center of the map. Guys, we've got so many games to get into, so let's jump to game number 2. Okay. Soma, over in the top right-hand corner. sSak, top left. Another wall in coming from sSak. A little bit of a clumsy wall in on this map. I thought that he would maybe go with barracks, supply depot. This is kind of an old school way of walling. It's the Mickey Mouse wall in. Not that old, but it's been a while since I've seen this. It really lets your Marines pop out so far away from the safety of the wall here. You got to walk all the way around, and can be abused for sure. Also, the supply depots are spread out. In modern Brood War, it's much better if you're going to build a wall to have 2 supply depots like this with a barracks there, so that you can build 1 turret and it covers both the supply depots. It doesn't protect them fully, but it just makes it not as easy to just go in there and kill them, because it's pretty easy to hit from this side. Like, even if you put a turret right in the middle or something, you can just hit from the side. Probably you're not even going to build a turret. Maybe build a bunker there or a bunker there. Leaves one of the supply depots pretty vulnerable. And so we're going to see a similar build from Soma, and we may even see almost a complete repeat of that last game. I think that sSak probably looked at that previous game and was like, you know what? I kind of messed up. I made a couple of mistakes. If I just do a little bit better, if I just control a little bit better, probably I can beat Soma in the early game, or I can get a better trade in the early game so that I have a better late game. And I don't think that my build was off, or I don't think that my the situation was bad. It's just the early game was not that good, or the matchup was fine, just the early game was not that good. So he's gonna repeat this instead, going for an academy, however. So I guess he will change up the build. Second barracks, academy, putting the Marines out on the map just so that they're out of vision of the overlords, so that Soma has to think that maybe something's coming. That's why he's building 3 sets of lings. He's gonna get 6 lings out. If he just could see all the Marines sitting behind the wall, then there'd be no need to do that. And so a little bit of sneaky stuff from sSak just to force a few lings. Nothing major though. 6 lings, not a big deal to make in the early game. Should have a 3rd hatch started pretty soon. And there it is. Exactly the same build from Soma's last time. I think he did a fantastic job with that sort of Sulky-esque style, catching the Marines in the mid game with lings and mutas. It's not an easy thing to do, trust me. It's made to look easy by players like Sulky, but it certainly is not. But Soma seems to be practicing that sort of play with the 2.5 hatch, and I gotta say, it's one of the best styles. It makes the Terrans so much more afraid of you, I think. You know, they start moving out on the map and they're like, oh, am I gonna lose this bio ball? Because if I lose it, I'm probably gonna lose the game. If you're not very good with that style and there's no pressure from the Zerg that you might actually lose all of your bio, then they can kind of just send bio balls around the map. They can put on a lot of pressure, undue pressure that they shouldn't be able to put onto you. Gonna force 2 sunken colonies out here. This is exactly the purpose of the 2 racks build. The academy rush. He's gonna get his engineering bay up. Should have +1 started here in a moment. Turrets gonna be the priority though. Wants to get those online just before the mutas arrive, and you can see only 5 mutas were able to be produced right off the bat. And that's just due to that early pressure. The 2 sunken colonies had to be built. And use some larvae on those lings. And otherwise, this would be, you know, full 7 mutas, potentially. Building up some gas as he goes to take a base in the bottom right-hand corner. 5 mutas, still enough to one-shot Marines, so that's what he's looking for. Not really any point in diving in to the mineral line, because you're going to have to 2-shot SCVs, and the turrets are going to take forever to kill. You'll end up losing mutas trying to kill turrets. And so he's just building up a drone count, banking that gas, and looking for opportunities to snipe a Marine or 2 here or there. Yeah, right off, just like that. Perfect, perfect, perfect. That's exactly what he's looking for. 5 mutas, sharking around the barracks, just looking for a Marine or 2. Just barely fly out there. Just barely keeping that 1 mutalist alive. 20 HP on that. Lings are looping around. There's still 2 sunken colonies in the natural. Scan comes down. He doesn't know where the 3rd hatch is just yet. 7 mutas on the way, so he's gonna dump that gas into mutas now. With the 30 drones, he can really start to utilize this extra hatchery. So you can see the ebb and flow of the game from Zerg. Usually you would have 7 mutas out, but he did what he could with these 5 mutas that he was able to produce. Oh, he's gonna hide the drone. He canceled the hatch and he's gonna hide the drone. Let's see if sSak catches on to that. Another drone heading down here. It's like just on a rally. So I'm gonna pull that back just in time. Catching onto some lings down here. It's very good stuff that sSak was able to prevent that hatchery from finishing. He's able to force the cancel there. Now 11 mutas, and these Marines are way out on the map. They forced the cancel, but the drone is just gonna restart the hatchery, and these Marines are dead. They're just done. There's nothing he can do about that. 5 racks back at home. The factory is done. He's making the transition. But these Marines, I mean, they're gonna go hide somewhere, and it's up to Soma to find them, and he does find them immediately. They're gonna park in a spot that's gonna be hard for Lings to get us around, but eventually there's just gonna be so many mutas that he's gonna easily overwhelm this, and of course he could just pick away at it little bit by little bit, but eventually he will go ahead and commit to killing that off. So in the end, I don't think that was totally worth it for sSak. He got something out of it by canceling or forcing to cancel in the hatch. That'll slow down the gas by a bit, but he didn't get a kill. He didn't kill the drone, and he lost a huge amount of Marines. This is bad news bears for sSak. Feels bad, man. .jpg. He comes forward and sees the hatchery being rebuilt. So at least he knows now that the hatchery was rebuilt in the same spot. That's some good information as well. Drones are coming down here. Can't be fighting that +1 Marine. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Send 2 Lings down there to deal with that instead. This Marine group coming out to threaten that 3rd base. Hydras are on the way. 2 Lurkers coming up as well. Has a good bank of gas. What will he invest that into? I think a lot of Lurkers are going to pop out here soon. Tons of drones coming as well. Going to be sent down to bottom right. That's a lot of Lings, and he's going to catch some of the Marines here in the middle. They're apart from their brothers, and he's just going to dive right in. No, what the heck? He didn't go for that. I was expecting him to just dive on it. He's got plenty of Lings and mutas there together, and now he's going to lose drones on the backside. All right, going to try and take a fight now, but this is not the best angle. I thought the angle before was much better. Faltering a little bit here, Soma. Could have definitely taken that engage. One more medic goes down. There's only one more medic coming up with this reinforcing group, but he had the opportunity to kill before the reinforcements arrived, and he kind of whiffed it. He kind of bungled it. Now there's no Lurkers in position to defend this base, and look at this, Lurkers running in. No, the Lurkers die. Okay, sSak probably gonna win this game now. That is super unfortunate. He just whiffed completely there. Gonna maybe catch some of these Marines on the backside, potentially. No, he's gonna loop around. Starts the sunken colony, has 1 Lurker down here. 1 Lurker is all he's got for the defense. Can he actually hold on? These 2 Lurkers are about to pop. Okay, they finish, and this is a pretty decent defense now. Pretty reasonable. I think he can hold this off. 3 Lurkers and a good clutch of mutas. That will be fine. 4th Lurker there, and Nidus Canal is done. He will live. He will live for now. Was not easy though. I was getting a bit sweaty there for a moment. I'm sure that Soma was on the edge of his seat. Butt clench moment. That's what I'll say. Oh gosh, these drones going right over towards those Marines. You gotta click the Nidus, like I said. Click the Nidus, and then you shift and click a mineral patch. But sometimes it doesn't work. That's the beauty of Brood War. Sometimes things like that will just not work, and maybe the shift key wasn't fully held down still, or maybe there's an input error, and instead of getting the shift click, you click the Nidus and then you click the mineral field, and the mineral field overrode the Nidus command. So then you end up walking all the way across the map and right into the clutches of submarines. It's gonna cut down some of the vision on the map now for Soma, so you can't just see the Marines and where they're headed. You'll have to have preparations everywhere, but so far, it's looking good. Like, take a look at Soma's vision. He's got vision over this area. Maybe move that overload up a little bit. Then he can see if anything's coming in that direction. Whoops, taking away all the vision there. He's got Scourge ready for any sort of drop. Dropships are on the way. Up to 6 racks now. Double upgrades. Command centers are being built as well. He's going to start to land those out on the map. Has a factory in the front. Thinking about maybe adding on some tanks potentially. But I think that we're going to go up into, or Soma's going to go up into Ultras. So there's not a real good reason to start building tanks. If it was a Hydraless Defiler game, I would say yes. Absolutely start building tanks. But in this type of situation, oh gosh, he loses 2 vessels over here. But he gets the drop inside. Dark Swarm should come down, or a Plague. Oh god, the Plague. Oh my goodness. Absolutely destroyed with that Plague. These, oh wow, I think Lurker's just running out in the middle again. That is unfortunate. I think he was trying to run up the ramp and they just got pathed out of existence. Both of those dropships are 1 HP. If he catches it with a Mutalisk, could kill them all. Looks like he doesn't have any Mutalisk left. Not sure exactly when those went down, but it might have been in the defense of that natural, right? He went down to like 2 or 3 mutas. Loading up again with 1 HP dropship. Let's see if he can get in somewhere. Do any damage. If he comes down to this corner, he's not going to be happy. Because that Scourge is just waiting for an opportunity to strike. Yeah, there we go. Is ready to dump in there. Just not going to happen. Double expansion for sSak. He's gearing up for the late game. But I think Soma is gearing up a little bit better. He's managed to get up to 49 drones. And he's sniping down more and more vessels. He gets another vessel there. Quite a few Scourge end up falling for that, but might be worth it. Oh no, he doesn't have any Scourge over here, so the vessel can actually come in and snipe down. Okay, great job jumping through the Nidus there. Good heads up play to just get out of the way and not allow those vessels to continue to get value. How many vessels total? 3? My gosh, 5 total. 2 more about to pop. He's done a great job of reducing this vessel count, but it's really down to sSak coming in and trying to make this drop work. He really wanted to come in and irradiate a bunch of stuff to make sure the drop would get off, and losing the vessels to the Scourge ended up making it so there's no Scourge to deal with the dropships, but the Plague follow-up was just perfect. Dropping the Plague on both the dropships as they fully unloaded. It's just not gonna work out for him. sSak is still ahead in supply, of course, and he's got his upgrades pumping. 2-2 is now done, but I think +2 is about to finish for Zerg player for Soma. And Ultras are going to pop out here momentarily. I'm not sure where that Ultralisk Cavern is. Must be in the main. There it is. And with the Carapace upgrades finishing, we're going to hit that big timing. 1,200 gas is in the bank. 8 Overlords. He's in preparation now to drop a massive load of larva into those Ultralisks. Just gearing up. Everything has been leading up to this moment for Soma. The next few minutes of this game are going to decide who ends up taking home these ladder points. Drone gets killed over there. Flying in with the vessels again. Sacking a bunch of vessels to get a few irradiates down. I don't think this is worth it. sSak. He just lost like 4 or 5 vessels to get a bunch of irradiates. What is this? Like 5 lurkers just died there? I mean, if he's gonna do a bust in the next second, but he's only got 3. He's still got 3 lurkers under the sunken colony. 5 ultras on the way. Bunch more Scourge pop out. Oh, there's those mutas. They've healed up all the way back to full. Gonna utilize them to deal with that factory floating in the front. More Scourge here, ready to pounce on these vessels. There's another vessel going down. Dude, I think sSak is getting completely outplayed here. He's gonna come forward. Oh my god, he's gonna get these 2 vessels too. Oh no. sSak is really falling apart. He is seriously falling apart now. Dark Swarm, double Dark Swarm. He even has the energy upgrade. Looks like he won't be able to consume enough to get a Plague down. Maybe one more. Can he get 1 more? No, he's not going to. He's just gonna run away. The Ultras are popping out. They've got their speed, +3 armor on the way. He's even gonna get evolved spines, so he's thinking that there might be battle cruisers coming soon. Hydralisk Defiler is the best way to deal with battle cruisers. Don't want to be throwing away too many Scourge trying to get rid of them. +2 still, and it's +4 armor now with a +1 attack. Means that he 2-shots these Marines, and he's just gonna clean up this frontal force. He lost 1 Ultralisk for that, and he's immediately gonna double expand. Expansion here expansion here. sSak is trying to take a base in the bottom left, but he doesn't have the forces necessary to hold that. Radiate's gonna go down. Marines should be able to defend this. He won't lose any more vessels for the time being, but he just doesn't have the massive vessels that he needs to deal with all of these ultras. He will push this back for now. Gets on the defiler here. Maybe one plague on one of these. Yeah, it should be okay. Mutas are gonna go down for the most part. Want to keep one of those mutas alive just for later. If there's a plague on top of some of these vessels, then you can easily snipe those down one at a time. Has some defilers ready over here at bottom center. Looks like forced to cancel or killed that base down at bottom or at center right. Maybe killed the drone as it was coming down here. So at least he's denying one of these bases. Another expansion coming up over at this mineral only. Could plague this. He could get the big plague. There it is. Beautiful plague. This is five vessels. Double drop into the main base right now. He's gonna drop a bunch of stuff and an SCV. Oh, that's kind of funny. Is he gonna build a bunker? Just loading up whatever was at the rally point, I guess. And the SCV happened to get caught up in the mess. Does throw down a plague on top of this, plus some dark swarm, and eventually that's gonna get cleaned up. But it is kind of an annoyance right now for Soma. He might end up losing the Ultralisk Cavern. It's getting low. One looks like, oh, just the SCV is attacking. That's funny. A 6-kill Ultra here is gonna get a few more kills under his belt, it looks like. Although he might end up getting taken out eventually. I think +3 has finished up. +3 is done. +3 armor, not quite there yet for Soma. So the Marines are gonna start to trade fairly well. Depleted guys are here. Let's take a look at the natural still pumping. Gonna get that next gas online in just a moment. The 5th gas is crucial. It'll be very important. He doesn't kill both the vessels there. A lot of these are low on HP. He should bring forward these mutas to eventually pick those off. But a little bit of chaos going on. He's trying to set things straight and get another Ultralisk Cavern out. I can't believe he lost that. It's quite funny losing that Ultralisk Cavern. It's gonna put a pretty big hiccup in his production. And sSak somehow held on to this base down here. He's not gonna hold on to it for long because the bunker, I mean, that's not gonna save. Oh, it dropped down here at the bottom center. This is huge. He's up on this base and he might be able to kill it. This hatchery, if it goes down, that actually is gonna be a big swing in sSak's favor. Oh my gosh, he kills that hatchery and the defiler isn't even gonna lay down Dark Swarm. What? Meanwhile, this army is gonna be attacking over onto these sunken colonies. There's no ultras to actually defend this, but a great plague. It's gonna be forced back. Oh, running right in there on top of all these plagued Marines. He's gonna kill a lot of those. Defiler doesn't have energy for anything, and sSak is running away with this game suddenly. He's got enough vessels to start a racer trick on all of these, but Burrow is there. See, Soma is a smart Zerg. He's gonna get that Burrow upgrade later on in the game. Counterattack is hitting this base over in the center left, though. Dealing quite a bit of damage over on this side. A couple of defilers pop out. Oh, can he get a plague or something? Plague, do something with that. Oh no, he doesn't Dark Swarm or plague with that vessel, and now these Marines might be able to just bust through. No, there's 3 lurkers under there still. He never moved those. They've been sitting there the whole game. They're still underneath there. Oh, defiler. Dark Swarm is in such a weird position, but okay. This Ultra looks like it will eventually die, but it's cleaning up a lot of Marines. Only 3 Marines left. Finally, it goes down. There's another Ultra coming up from behind that, and it's going to be able to definitely clear out the remainder, and so this base is not going to last. Eventually, he's going to take that out. Good plague there. He had to consume a drone to get that plague, but he's going to lead all of these Marines into the sunken colonies. So there you go. More kills on these sunken colonies. The Lings are going to clean that up for sure. sSak just a little bit busy trying to reset some of these bases, get them back to mining. He's out of money in his main and natural, and his 3rd is running dry. Bunch of battle cruisers being made, and they are going to be sent out soon. 3 battle cruisers heading towards the main, and then drops heading down to bottom right or bottom center. Let's see what happens. Definitely the natural is now out of gas. Yeah, only 100 left on that. And so he'll be on like 2.25 gases, something like that pretty soon. Well, catching on to some vessels here. Brings the Mutalisk forward. Those are those 3 Mutalisks that have been in the game forever. Since the beginning. Oh, he could hop on that. That's 2 super low HP vessels. He's not going to go for it. One Ling making its way down to the bottom left. Here are drops and battle cruisers. Going to get the battle cruisers, but the drops are going to be able to unleash the Marines onto the ground. Ultra going to drop a Dark Swarm. Some Mutas and Scourge coming out to hit these. But there's not enough Scourge to finish off the battle cruisers. Oh my gosh. This is chaos, guys. There's stuff going on everywhere on the map. Center right has been denied completely. Hydras are popping out here. He's going to be able to clean this up, I think, with just pure Hydra. Hydra should be able to deal with that. A lot of Marines are getting trapped here. Ultras and Lings from both sides. Oh my gosh, there's nowhere to run, and these Marines are just going to get wiped. Oh, great surround there. Absolutely fantastic surround. Marines coming up, though, from the right-hand side are going to deny this base again. GG is called, though. sSak taps out. Wow, he just doesn't have mineral, but he's got 1,000 in the bank. That's a bit funny. It's kind of funny to see sSak just leave the game right now. I guess he felt like the position was unrecoverable. This was kind of his last hurrah into the main base. He sees that everything has been blocked, but there's really no future base on the way for Soma. I mean, we're just about out of money here, but if he can get some battle cruisers over to this base, he might have been able to save it. I guess just the counter attack was going to kill him. Yeah, I don't think he had enough to deal with the counter. He was going to get overwhelmed by Ultras and Lings coming into his natural. Look at how little he's pumping out with these Marines. I guess this was GG for sSak. He ran out of gas in this game, but it was a great one, really. Gave Soma a run for his money. Almost finished him off by taking out this base and then doing the drop into the main with the battlecruiser. I think it would have been better to send the battlecruisers in and then drop somewhere else. It just divides the attention so much better on the side of the Zerg. Like, he had this big force right there. Bring the dropships in and dump into this base and then keep loading and dumping in there. Just makes such a big problem for the Zerg to deal with here while dealing with the battlecruisers over here. But it was still a great, well-played game on both sides. GG's. We're going to jump into game number 3. Okay, I'm starting this next game a little bit earlier because I wanted to talk a little bit about the previous 2 games. Not the ones that you just saw on screen, but I just watched 2 games between sSak and Soma where sSak basically got his mental completely destroyed, and I decided not to include those games. Let me just explain what happened for you guys while this next one warms up. Is that sSak opened with a gas build, went into a factory. Soma did a Ling all-in and caught sSak's Vulture transitioning from low to high ground, killed it, and then just won the game. That was the first one. The second one was a bit of a back and forth with a bunker rush and some, Lings attacking and cleaning up the bunker rush pretty handily. And then sSak didn't have his turrets up in time, so he just lost to Mutas. It was pretty uneventful 2 games. Not the greatest games in the world, so I'm going to spare you guys those. But just know that sSak has lost 4 games in a row versus Soma, and I'm sure he is a little bit mentally thrown off by that. As anyone would be. Following this, we're going to have Soma go for, I think that was 11 and then 10 pool. 11 hatch, 10 pool. And now he's going to get a 1 drone and then get the 10 gas. So 11, 10, 10 for his opener. That's going to give him a little bit faster Lings. Maybe he's kind of worried about potentially an 8 racks coming out. But if he was, I think he would just open with a faster pool than that even. I'm not so sure. This seems kind of weird. I'm not sure exactly what the purpose of this is, but I think there might not be enough money in the bank for Soma after this opener to get the 2.5 hatch down. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what it feels like to me. It's pretty tight. Having enough money to get that third hatchery in the main, that macro hatch, and then also having enough money to build mutas when the spire finishes. So let's see how he ends up playing this one out. We might get a little bit of a different build here from Soma. Maybe some more, you know, aggressive mutalist play in this game. But he's on a high right now. He's been just crushing this guy over and over again. He doesn't know probably who he is. Maybe he has some suspicions, but he knows that he is absolutely dominating him so far, and that's a massive mental edge that he's going to take into this next game. Starts the engineering bay and academy right after the other. I'm gonna wait for the command center to finish so that he can continue to make SCVs. He's halted marine production, and he should pull back behind this wall. There's 4 lings, 6 lings total. These 2 are going to come out and find the 3 marines waiting at the natural. He will pull back behind the wall now. Being able to skip that third supply depot is kind of good. Just cutting marine production a little bit to make that work. And that way he's actually going to get... Oh, sorry about that. He's actually going to get the academy up a bit faster with this early +1 build. Looks like we had a pause. We're back into the action immediately. That's the benefit of casting from replay rather than casting live. We don't have to worry about pauses, at least. There's that third hatchery. So he does go for the 2.5 hatchery. I'm a little bit off on that. I thought he might not be able to afford it, but looks like he was capable of getting that down. And he's going to have that gas coming up as well. They have a drone down here. Not just yet. 6 drones in the natural, 9 drones in the main. He's got pretty well full saturation. Just 1 patch is going to be now saturated. So it's not, well, it's not saturation, but he's got 1 per patch, and that's pretty decent for the early game of Zerg. You can actually do a 2 hatch build with just 3 drones on the patches at the natural, and you can get just constant mutalist production out of that. And so he should be able to get his upgrade, produce off of this extra hatchery, add some more drones, and make mutalists as well with this amount of drones. So 5 mutas are going to pop out initially. Armor on the way. Kind of likes that 5 mutas recently. You can see he's keeping some gas banked up. He's going to start making drones. So just making the 5 mutas only to snipe marines. Okay, 2 more on the way. That's going to bring him to 7. That's a SCV sniping force. And so he's not going to go as light on the mutalist number this game as he did in previous. He's going to send that drone that he just made over to the natural. Okay, I thought he was going to send that out to go and take a 3rd base, but maybe that's going to be coming up here soon. Turrets being built. Does eat quite a bit of damage on some of these mutas without really trading anything back, unfortunately. Gonna get those 7 together here in a moment, and is gonna continue to build mutas. So we're gonna see some aggression, and I think Soma's gonna rely on getting some damage in this early game. Doesn't get the full volley there, and so he doesn't even kill 1 marine so far. I'm gonna bring these mutalists together, but the marines are pushing out, looping around. This is 5 racks. Wow, 5 racks coming out of sSak. A lot of sunkens are being made back at home, but he's got to get these started. He's got to start these into sunkens. He's microing mutas at the same time as doing this. It's pretty hard to get all this going at the same time. sSak is going to turn around, though. sSak has figured it out. He knows that this is a sunken wall that's being built back at home for Soma. So Soma's getting a lot of damage. He's actually not quite going to kill this turret. That turret is so low. But he's taken over complete control of the main, and he's going to be able to fight these marines as they come up. Yeah, the marines here are easy pickings. A lot of them are not being healed. Quite a few of them are very low on that HP. He's bringing some more mutas around. Got to bring these all together. Uh-oh. Okay, he does actually avoid catastrophe there, running straight into that bioforces sitting in the natural. sSak will get back to mining again, and should start some turrets here as well, because this is still a big threat. This is not a joke. There's no third base for Soma. He's going to be making a ton of Mutalisks, just masses and masses of Mutalisks. He does build some drones and get those to mining here shortly. But his plan is to dive in and start getting kills. This is still there's no turrets over in the main base. If he looped into the main, there's a few Marines here, but he can fight those, and taking over the main base again would be huge. Starting the transition now. Third base in top left. Interesting choice. Has the full group of mutas. Gonna send back the ones that have been damaged. For the time being, more mutas coming out. Just tons of mutas being produced by him. He's investing a huge amount into this, and so he actually needs to get some good value out of these mutas before he makes this transition. Oh, did he actually start Hydra Den? He did. Okay, he's gonna start Lurker. I thought maybe with that armor he might be planning to make Guardians, but it's too late. Way too late for that. However, I mean, the factory is super late too. We're at 9 minutes. He hasn't even started a starport. So looping back around towards the main. This is what I wanted to see him do. Uh-oh. Okay, gets caught there. Some lings on the map. These Marines are heading up here. If he just goes into the main again and starts clearing out Marines and SCVs, I think it's okay, but he really wants to save this base up on the high ground, and it looks like he may be able to do so. Just gonna dive right on top of that, gunning down a few mutas in this trade, but overall pretty one-sided there for Soma. Lurkers are gonna be sent out here soon. Lurker upgrade on the way, just about done. And he has that hive coming. I think we're gonna see a fairly aggressive Soma with these lurkers, trying to get in there and contain the Terran player, because he knows that he went 5 racks. He knows that the tech is quite slow, and so if he can get in that front, he can get right up there in the face of sSak. It's going to be super hard to dislodge him. He's starting a lurker over here on the left hand side, but lurkers in the middle haven't started yet. A little bit strapped for supply at the moment. Marines are going to push up onto this high ground. +1 is done. +1 armor is coming up here soon. Mutas fighting down the ramp is amazing. Marines trying to push up here are going to have a hell of a time breaking this. And the lurkers are spawning. So as soon as these lurkers make their way to the front and get burrowed, I don't think there's going to be a chance for him to get up this ramp. No. Okay, the lurker actually dies. He targets the lurker, which is pretty good. And more Marines are going to arrive. Uh-oh. This is looking a little dicey now for Soma. He's going to pull some drones to the front. Okay, does burrow. Going to target that. Gets one spine off and they die, but the Lings managed to make their way up here, and they're going to save the day. That was a close hold for Soma for sure. Drones going to be sent up to reinforce. Well, not reinforce, to saturate this base, excuse me. Starts a Nidus Canal in the corner there. And, well, the transition is underway. Drops are going to be the first priority, it seems, for sSak. And that might mean that, you know, could get caught by some lurkers out on the map. However, these drones, oh my gosh, is he going to catch these? Oh, is he going to catch these drones? They're so close. He's just barely going to slip past. One drone may go down. The rest are going to live. The Lings can sack their lives for those drones if necessary. Looks like it won't be, though. Coming up from the backside. Oh, he's not burrowed in time. Oh, if he burrowed those lurkers just a little earlier, he could have actually gotten so much damage. The drops are coming in. sSak is going to gamble it all on a big drop going off in this corner. We can see that he doesn't know about this yet. He hasn't spotted it yet. And there it is. He sees it now. Can he go after the Nidus Canal? The Nidus Canal would be the big target right now. Where are the mutas? They just left. The mutas just left. The mutas are gone. They're coming back now. The mutas are coming back. More drops here onto the high ground. The lurkers get into a pretty good position, but they're going to be killed. Oh, that one last spine actually killing quite a bit of Marines. However, It seems like sSak has made the progress that he was looking for. He's broken this base. And yeah, Soma's just gonna have to let it go. Oh, wow. This has gone pretty sideways for Soma. He's gonna start another hatchery on the low ground, but he's lost so many drones. So many drones went down. Gonna try to set up a fresh base down here. Maybe clear out this attack. That's a lot of bio. Trying to jump on this with lurkers. He can kind of kite this around until his reinforcements come. And of course he can target down lurkers as they try to run forward as well. Lurkers are going to leapfrog. Another lurker dies though. 2 more lurkers go down. Now the Lings and Mutas will have to just commit to killing that off. Some dropships will go down. I'm surprised he didn't send everything up towards the top left to just reinforce this. Once the lurkers are up here on the high ground, it's an easy cleanup. You can just stop the drone, or you can, yeah, okay, he canceled anyway, realizing he probably wasn't gonna be able to save that. Yeah, you can force the drone to leave. He's actually double expanding. He needs gas so badly. Soma is in a terrible spot. sSak, he's moments away from clearing this up, but that doesn't mean that he won't falter. +1 is done. 1-1 on either side, in fact. Now, the lateness of that factory means that the science facility was quite late as well, and so the upgrades didn't start for some time, and they are a little bit slow on the side of sSak. 2-2 is on the way for Soma. He's trying to get into the eventual Ultralist play that we saw before. This space down here will eventually be saved. Coming forward to just throw down a bunch of vessels, and this is the moment when Zerg is most vulnerable. If he can just break these lurkers on high ground and get up here, crush this base, he's gonna prevent that from finishing for a long time. And another Nidus Canal has started, but he needs to get the Nidus going here. He needs that Nidus Canal so badly. All the lurkers are dead, and there's no way to hold. Soma is gonna have to abandon this base. That is terrible. Too many irradiates going down on that area. And I think Soma is not long for this world, my friends. He is going to be taken down here pretty soon. Nidus Canal does manage to go up down here in the bottom right, and he's gonna get that gas online as soon as possible. Maybe there's a hope? I don't know. It seems desperate. But Soma is gonna try to get another base on this high ground, try to get double gas going as soon as possible so he can make this next transition. He's making the Ultralist Cavern with almost no gas coming in. And he won't be able to keep this Defiler alive either. Oh gosh. Defiler can drop some Dark Storms right as it's about to die, I suppose. Maybe he can get a Plague? Ooh, that is a Plague that could change the game, guys. That is a game-changing Plague, potentially. It's not 100%, but look at the Mutas are already heading this direction. Someone looking for any opportunity he has to potentially come back in this game. Anything he can find. Any way that he can make his way back. He's bringing out some Lings to try and bait. Get the Marines to shoot the Lings, and then maybe the Mutas can one-tap some of these vessels. That's the goal right now. Some Firebats in here are going to prevent someone from holding on. Okay, the Firebats actually die. That's important. Now he can kind of just hold position here. Lurker can come forward. He's going to be able to jump on this. He really needs to jump on these. Can he actually get some of these? He is going to go for it. Here we go. Diving on top. He's going to get 3 science vessels, I think. 2 or 3 just went down there. Muta does die, though. That's unfortunate. Really need to keep that Mutalisk alive. Lurker goes down. Does he have anything to pop through this? Anything to pop through this Nidus? He's got some Hydras, but that's it. GG. As he loses the bottom right natural. It was a desperate situation. He had some chances. Had he been able to dive on top of those vessels a little earlier, then those lurkers might have stayed. And the Defilers might have lived a little bit longer. But alas, sSak takes him down. And I'm sure this is a well-earned victory. This is a long time coming for sSak. He's been, you know, feeling the pressure of getting owned over and over and over again by Soma, and he finally gets a win over him. That's got to be a relief for sure. So I'm happy for sSak. I'm glad that he managed to make this a real series. He's got a win on the board. Will he be able to take more? Well, you have to wait to find out in the next video, guys. I'm going to chop this up into a few videos, and we'll slow drip them to you over the next few days. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in that next one.